My mom's on here. Hi, mom. Maybe
Hi,
my dad
Mom.
can too. Hi, mom. Hi, dad. So welcome. Welcome to this presentation. Today, we're going to talk about stress-free downsizing. Is it even possible? So I'm going to tell you right now, it's not possible. We lied to you with the name of this webinar. Downsizing is never stress-free. But the goal for today is really to give you information so you feel like you know what to do next, you know what actions to take. And our job always when we're working with anyone who is downsizing is to turn the volume down on the stress. That's our job. So it might start here, but when you start meeting with us and talking to us, we'll get it way lower. The other cool thing is that we have great people to refer to, like Eileen, who is on this call right now, who can help turn the stress down for you. So we'll get into that more. Um, the way that we're going to flow, well, first I want to introduce myself. Sorry, if you don't know who I am, I'm Wendy Slaughter. I am one of the co-founders of the Wendy Slaughter team, and I've been in real estate for 18 years, which sounds very strange to me. I've lived in Howard County for 20 years, over 20 years. I went to St. Mary's College in Southern Maryland for undergrad and Hopkins for grad school. I have a concentration in marketing for my graduate degree. And I like to be outside for fun. I'm so happy about the weather changing. I feel like the dark, wet blanket is lifting. And I can't wait to go out into the world. Today, I'm lucky enough to be co-hosting this with Beth Dittman. Beth is a dear friend, and she walked in today, and I just had an emotional reaction to seeing her because she is such a great human being. She's a business owner. She specializes in working with older adults, which is why today will be, I think, even more valuable for you. And I'm going to hand things over to this awesome human being and let her introduce herself.
Thank you, Wendy. And another awesome human being, of course, is Wendy. And I know her mom dearly as a past client of mine. So I'm sure she's ringing her praises, seeing her daughter doing such amazing work. I also am a resident for over 30 years, so I'm older than Wendy.
A little
I
bit, just a little bit.
I raised with my husband, who's on this, our two boys in Howard County. Howard County is very important to me. I grew up in Baltimore County though, and the community is very, very important to me. I am a community leader involved as the executive board of Blossoms of Hope, which many of you know raises money for Cancer for Johns Hopkins and more, and many other boards and committees I'm involved with. It's a the community is given back to me, and I like to give back to the community. I'm very grateful. As Wendy mentioned, I do have my SRES designation for with
Mhm.
older adults. And why I did that is because I was a caregiver for four parents that have now passed, but I not only experienced and learned and was challenged by all of this, I also am very grateful for everyone that helped me along the way. And I want to be able to give back and help those older adults through this next chapter, which can be very exciting, but it also can be challenging or difficult. So I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Wendy.
Thanks for being here. This is great. So this is our agenda for the presentation today. We're going to talk a little bit about our team and fill you in about some statistics and things that we're doing. Then we want to talk about housing options. Beth is going to cover, one of the big questions we get is like, where am I going to go? And that's a difficult question to answer, I think, and it can take years to decide. Sometimes just because of where family lives or whatever, but we'll go through that. Then we're going to get into downsizing and what does that look like? And then we'll have the Q&A, which is always fun. We love the Q&A time. If there is anything that you feel like you need to ask while we're on a specific slide, you can just put your question in the chat and Tess will interrupt us. She's very good at interrupting us because we talk a lot. So Tess is our team manager, by the way. I didn't even introduce her. Tess runs our company. Thank you, Tess. And she's created all of this. She's amazing. This is a picture of some of the team. This isn't everyone. We won Best of Howard County for the first time last year. We were very excited. We've been nominated in the past, but this was the first time that we won. This is everyone who is on the team. They are beautiful human beings inside and out, and I love working with them. I'm very lucky to be in this business with professional people who are good human beings. These are some of our stats. So we are in the top 1% for the state in terms of our sales volume. We're number 8 in Howard County out of over 2,700 agents who do business here in the county. We are I need to make an adjustment so I can see this. I think 14. Yes, we're number 14 in Central Maryland, and I think that's over 11,000. There are 11,000 tests. Is that right? Over 11,000? Okay. The stat we love the most is this 91%. So 91% of our business comes from referral. And that's just weird in our industry. It's not typical. And that's what we care about the most. That means we're doing a great job for our clients. Our clients appreciate what we're doing, and they're referring their friends, family, neighbors, and all of that. We love that stat. Oops. Let me go back here. Our sellers love this. We've been selling homes faster in Howard County for 15 years in a row. So it doesn't matter if it's a buyer's market, a seller's market, a strong market, a slower market. For me, when I look at this, it reminds me that we have the recipe for the secret sauce. Like, we know what you need to do to get your house sold quickly and for top dollar. And we're going to talk about that today too. We're not only doing that in Howard County, we're also doing that in Central Maryland. We consistently beat the days on market. So our team, just so you know, works about 50% of our business is in Howard County, and the other 50% is spread out throughout Central Maryland. So I feel like, one last thing, we are known for giving back in the community. For me, there's a really great quote by a chef. I want to say his name is Massimo Bottura. I'm probably butchering that, but he basically says it's a requirement to give back some of your lucky. And everyone on the team shares that value. So I think we were all attracted to each other because of that value, that shared value. Now I want to talk about you guys. Beth and I want to get into the content here. So let's shift the focus to you. And I mentioned this. It's where will I go? And for some people, this just doesn't feel like a good question to even ask or consider. And sometimes people don't consider it until it's late, and then they have to decide really quickly. So we're huge fans of having these conversations with whoever in your life, that whoever those people are, whether it's your, maybe you have a life partner, maybe you have family members, maybe you have friends that you can talk to about where am I going? Maybe you're not going anywhere for 10 years, and that is great if that's the case, because then you do have time to really think about where do you want to go. So I'm going to hand things over to Beth, because again, she is the specialist here in terms of understanding all of this. Beth, do you want to talk a little bit about different options
Yeah.
for people when they're downsizing?
Yeah, I mean, it is always the burning question, right? Where am I going to go next? And the good news is there's lots more options. And so if we remember back when, our grandmothers and even our parents, some of this was a stigma to go to a facility, and it's not like that anymore. There's just so many different options, depending upon your needs and your goals. There's always, of course, aging in place. There's many that choose that they love their home and their community and their neighborhood, and they want to age in place. And we have a lot of supports and vendors that can help you do that to make sure you're safe, because that is the key, is to be safe and not fall, and have all those supports and your steps and your bathroom and so on and so forth. But aging in place, according to the Department of Aging, is, a great option for many people. Sometimes, they're ready to sell that house and move into a 55 plus community. And the beauty of that, of course, is that you only have to be responsible for the inside of the house, not the outside. You can lock and go and travel, and lots of activities are happening in those 55 plus communities. Or maybe you decide, right now you're going to live with family until you figure this out. It's a seller's market. So you decide, I'm going to sell my house and then give me time to let the family support me. Or another option, of course, is a smaller home. And you may choose a rancher or a smaller home just really because it's easier. It is, the expenses are less, the upkeep is less, and it's just another good option, for you. Or you just say, all of this is very confusing. I don't know where to go. So you go to a rental community for,
Mhm.
a year or so, which kind of takes the pressure off. Let's do one thing at a time. Let's get that house ready, let's sell it, and then we'll rent till we figure it out, which I know a lot of our clients, go that path as well. And then finally, there are CCRCs, which are continuing care communities that really allow you to not have to keep moving. You can stay in one place. It has independent living, assisted living, and other services. And, they're like country clubs now. So they're really beautiful, and there are many options throughout the state of Maryland for you. So lots to choose from, and glad to help you in any way in this area.
Thank you for explaining all of that. I just know so many people who, I mean, we work with people who choose all of these options, but I know so many people who do want to age in place as long as possible. And most of the people I know who want to do that already live in a rancher. So it's the people who have, to have to live on two levels that are renting for a year. They're selling, they're taking their money and renting for a year while they try to figure it out. Or like you said, Beth, living with family for a year, um, you know, deciding, thinking about all these other options. You mentioned that the communities now are like country clubs. So I felt like I was in a college dorm when I was at Brightview, but just much nicer, way
Right,
nicer than a college
right,
dorm. I
right.
mean, they have clubs, they have activities, they have wine on tap. Like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, what is going on? You know,
It's a lot of fun, and they're
yeah,
very
I'm like, what's
social.
happening?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
the the couples that I've and individuals that I've moved over the years, their social life is more exciting than mine.
I know. I couldn't believe what was happening when I visited there.
Right,
It
right.
was, it felt like I was in a college dorm. There was so much activity and so much happening. It was fun to be there. The energy was great. It's not what I was expecting.
Yeah,
Because like you said, Beth, like the ideas, if you haven't been in a community like that for a long time, you have no idea what it's like.
right.
It's not like it was 30 or 40 years ago at all. So let's talk about downsizing. And I hope we get this right because Eileen is here and she is watching us.
Uh-huh.
This is what Eileen does for a living. She's brilliant at what she does. Um, so there are really three steps when you think about getting your house ready to sell and moving if you are doing any kind of right sizing or downsizing. Right sizing is another term that's used when you are making a move like this. So the first step is decluttering, deferred maintenance, and repairs. So we want to get into what does that mean? So Beth, do you want to talk about decluttering? I feel like you can explain
Sure.
it really well.
And again, Eileen is definitely lives and breathes this every day. And there is no one way to do this, right? I mean, it may be that, some you're making your piles and you're donating, or you're trying to sell consignment, or a variety, and you're hiring someone like Eileen possibly, to help you go through this process. And sometimes what I say to my folks is a couple things. One is start with a closet. start with a closet and,
Hmm.
reduce it to half and see how that feels.
Yeah.
And then move to the next area, or, put out a box that's going to be for your kids, and, and have that filled up.
Yeah.
Uh, there's actually a lot of books in this area about letting go. And there's a new one I was just looking at called Let It Go by Peter Walsh. And it's all about giving you a richer, happier life, because you're right sizing, you're moving to the next chapter. And, the fact is you're probably going somewhere smaller at some level, and you have to let go of some of those items. But it feels really good. They say it's really good for your mental wellness. So, it's something you can do years before you're going to sell your house.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to do that, and I'm not going anywhere for a long time.
Yeah.
So, hitting small spaces is really helpful, like breaking it down. So I know my parents are on this call, and I'm gonna, you know, open up and get vulnerable about what happened to me on my birthday. So my parents came to my house. First off, this is my dog Manny, and he's one of my babies. I have four fur babies, but you'll see he's sitting next to a bin that has my name on it. My parents showed up for my birthday party with a bin full of stuff with my name in it. And I happily received it. Now, I know not everyone is wired that way to happily receive a bin, right? It might freak them out. It might be like, what are you doing? Why are you getting rid of my report cards? Don't you want to keep these for the next 30 years? I didn't have that reaction at all. I was actually really excited to see them doing those kinds of things. So you have to gauge, right, what your family response will be for things like this. But I love this idea. And it goes back to Beth, break it up into small things. Start making bins for people, whoever those people are in your life, and just, have them go through it and decide what they want to keep. Um, and that's what I did. And I handed the bin back to them and I said, fill it up again. So, it's a great thing to do. I love it. So, mom and dad, thank you. And I incorporated that into this presentation as a tip. Beth, do you want to talk about options for donations?
Sure. There are so many. And when you're working with Wendy and I and Tess and even Eileen, we'll go through all those different options depending upon, what you're, letting go and changing and getting rid of. Habitat is one of many. They will pick up furniture and large items, which is, important. It does depend on, what type of quality that furniture is in, and so on and so forth. But there's others as well.
Okay, I think we have another slide about
Yes.
another option. Yeah.
Second Chance is a nonprofit, and what do they accept? We accept everything but the kitchen sink. They actually take that too. So they're looking for hardware and tools, and a lot of folks, you speak of tools. They have sheds of tools, and they're not going to need that anymore. So they really appreciate that, and old doors and items, and anything from the kitchen they're going to take, and so that's another option, another of many options to choose from.
Tess, do you want to chime in about the tool library that you talked about?
Sure. I'm not sure how many exist in Maryland, but I know I live in Baltimore City and we have a couple tool libraries, which are so helpful because a lot of people don't have the space to have every tool that they could possibly need for every project or craft that they're doing. So there's a lot of tool banks, tool libraries that you can donate things to, and then people can just check those tools out as needed instead of having to go buy something brand new.
I love that so much.
Now it's really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. All right, thank you both. So deferred maintenance, the thing that no one wants to talk about. A, because it's boring, and two, it's annoying. So we all have deferred maintenance. Well, I'm saying that. Maybe we don't all. Maybe there are people out there who just keep up on every repair. I'm not one of those people. So I usually, my list gets to a certain length, and then I have to bring somebody in and, have the house tuned up a little bit. So that's our expectation when we work with someone, that we will walk through the house with you, and you might even point things out to us and say, should I do these things as we're walking around the house? So that's one step towards getting your house ready. Repairs are a little bit different. If you think about things that just are broken, right, and need to be repaired. So it's a little bit more than just deferred maintenance. And when you are thinking about, again, as you get closer to making the move, that's when you really want to talk to somebody and have us walk through your house and help you decide which repairs you should make. Again, tuning up the house just makes a lot of sense when you're getting it ready to sell. Beth, do you want to talk about our Platinum Plan partners and even the program? We haven't even mentioned it.
Yeah, thank you. So the Platinum Plan is designed specifically for older adults. And, when we're at that point of removing furniture and junk, we have all the resources for that, for example, and they're all vetted. We've used these folks many, many times, and we know that we trust them. As we're the deferred maintenance, you may have your favorite electrician, but you need some advice on, license other contractors in that area, and we have that for you. The Platinum program is designed to really make this process, as Wendy said, it's not stress-free, but a lot less stressful. So, from beginning to end, as we're getting that house ready, and maybe you're at a point where you want to revise your trust, your will. We have resources on that as well. There's many parts to selling obviously your biggest asset, and we're here to help you through all of that. And then finally, our favorite movers and packers that really specialize in older adults and have actually been in many of these facilities, know the spacing and the layout, and all of that is really refreshing that you don't have to explain because they already know it. And that's all part of the Platinum program. And then, of course, just the overall, getting your house ready. Our partnership includes, we have 2 remodeling companies, we have stagers, we have designers. We really are that boutique brokerage that's going to offer everything that you need with the Platinum Plan.
Thank you. So 2 things I want to point out, I know we've talked about Eileen 10 times, but Eileen falls into this category, and we do refer clients to her. And she also is familiar with the moving side of things. So she works hand in hand sometimes with movers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's trying to integrate a lot of these services for you so that again, we want to reduce stress. And I can't leave the slide without giving a shout out to Tessa's husband, Justin. He owns a junk removal company. And what I love about the way he operates is that he's very eco-friendly. And I know Tess is involved in the company too. They are all about upcycling, recycling. So they don't immediately go to the dump. They look at the items. They might donate some. They might put some out for free for people. And, they try to reuse as much as they can and keep the amount going into our landfills to be lower, while at the same time offering some things to people who might be in need. So I think that's really cool, and it definitely sets them apart. And I don't have ownership in any of these other companies. I just want to make that clear. They're just really great people who do a good job for our clients. So back to our downsizing list. Step 2 is updating or renovating the house. And I feel like this is this is fun for me. I don't know if it's fun for people who are renovating their houses. So I feel like people want to know, what's the key? What's the key to having a great selling experience? And for right now, and I would say forever, since I've been in the business, the condition of your home is the foundation of your selling experience. If you want to be in a powerful position when you are selling, the condition of your home is critical. So, and it's a choice. It's always a choice that you can make. It doesn't mean that you have to renovate. So when we show these before and after pictures, we don't want you to walk away feeling pressure. there's just you'll just have a different experience if you decide not to refresh your home. That's all. It's always a choice that you can make. So one of the things that we like to do is play, which one would you buy? And this is so fun. So we have some before and after pictures that we're going to share. With this picture, I always like to remind our webinar attendees that we don't care what your house looks like when we come to visit. Everyone lives in their home in a different way. There is living condition and there is showing condition. This house is in living condition. And they were cleaning out and they had a lot out because they were in the middle of cleaning things out. We don't care. When we come, it doesn't need to look a certain way. So what we want you to notice in this picture is the countertop, the curtains, and the floor. So let's look at the after. So the sellers in this case decided to replace the countertops, remove the window treatments, and replace the flooring. They kept the cabinets. The cabinets are great. The cabinets did not need to go. One of our goals when we are recommending refreshing your home or preparing it for sale is to keep your costs as low as possible and have your ROI be as high as possible. So this is a great example of that. So let me show you a couple more of these. So the outside, this is in the winter, by the way. The outside definitely matters. And I'm sure most of us understand that. They did a very simple clean out. So again, if you look here, you can see it was winter. Had it been summer, we probably would have had them put some potted plants or something out in this bed. But that just made a huge difference in terms of pulling up to the house, cleaning things up a bit. This is one of my favorites. So you'll see this vanity. It looks dated. It served the sellers very well. It served a purpose and it worked. They didn't see any reason to replace it. We know that they can get a lot more money for their house because the kitchen and baths are the primary selling features of a home. But I want you to notice the floor and the shower before we go to the next, the after. The after is stunning. It's gorgeous. It looks so expensive. But if you look here, they kept the floor. They didn't replace the floor. They didn't touch the tub. They didn't touch the surround. The sellers put in a new double vanity. They raised the height to comfort height, 2 new mirrors and lighting and fresh paint. So I've used this before and after in other webinars, and Rocky is one of the people on our team who handles renovations. And he guessed that this was a $5,000 to $7,000 renovation versus a $40,000 to $60,000 renovation. But the return on it is super high. So it's a dramatic difference. And, the seller's bank account was definitely a lot bigger because they invested that in the house. We wanted to show an example where maybe there just wasn't, the seller just didn't have a lot of funds to put into a renovation in this case. And I really like this too, because for the price point and the location, painting the cabinets worked for this price point and the location of this house. That doesn't work in every price point and location, but it goes back to, it's up to us to know what will work, and we need to be able to give you good advice. Obviously this wasn't fully staged yet because, we would have removed a few more items, but it looks so much better. And Beth, do you remember, I know this was your client, do you remember how long it took her to go under contract and what her selling experience was?
Somewhat. I know that this was in Catonsville. And we did have multiple offers and go over list.
Good.
I think it was within 7 days. It was right away. And this was like $3,500. So we painted, freshed the lighting, painted the cabinets, and it was a huge success, and their ROI was significantly higher. And I want to just add that sellers often ask that burning question, why am I doing this if the buyer is going to change it anyway? Why are we doing this? And, you know, we talk about the whole experience that purchasing a home and shopping, the shopping experience is online. So the
Right,
photos are critical. We're not gonna, if their eyeballs aren't happy, their feet aren't coming in the door.
right.
So we really need that experience, you know, to at least get them in the door and get them in quickly. So, you know, like exactly what Wendy had mentioned, we're going to keep the cost down and we're going to run the numbers so that your proceeds and your ROI are significantly higher than a can of paint. I mean, we're going to make sure of that.
Rocky always says, paint is $1 in the can and $3 on the wall. I love when he says that.
Mhm.
The other thing about putting you or your parents, like I'm not really sure what everyone's circumstances are here on the webinar, but or for anyone who's watching it later. But if you are helping your parents or you are the seller, I know that you're thinking about, everyone's thinking about the bottom line, right? Like, and sometimes um, there is a significant investment in getting the house ready. It's not just about the ROI. It's also about, are you generating more than one offer? Because once you have multiple offers, then you can negotiate terms like the home inspection, like the appraisal. And so many times, if you have multiple offers, you can negotiate to a smooth, there's really not a lot to do to get to settlement. And we love that for our sellers. So there are multiple goals with, um, having putting money into refreshing the house. This
And
is,
and just and
yeah, go
just to
ahead.
add, Wendy,
Yeah.
when you talk about the investment, you talked about Rocky Renovation, and we have another renovation company that we work with that could allow you to pay at settlement so
Mhm.
that the, you know, money upfront isn't as challenging because it'll just come out of your proceeds at the end.
Yeah, it's a great option. They front the money, they do the work. At
Mhm.
settlement, there's a line item with, a debit, and basically the title company will go ahead and pay Maria. So we have 2 agents on the team that own renovation companies. And so we have lots of options. And you can work with whoever you want to work with, as long as they're licensed. So that's really, we strongly recommend that you work with licensed contractors. So this is another one of my favorites, paint and carpet. Most of our clients do need paint and carpet. It's kind of the low bar of what most of us need. I thought I was going to sell my house back in 2022. Mom and Dad, I'm sorry if I didn't tell you that. I think we talked about it, but I can't remember. So I did another kind of a mini renovation in my kitchen. I replaced flooring and I painted the house. I also renovated 2 bathrooms to get ready for that. And I always tell people, if I'm putting that kind of money into my house, you should follow my example, because I'm not going to spend money unless I know I'm going to get that back and more. But anyway, let's get back to this. I love this before and after. It's one of my favorites. So paint and carpet, that's all this is, paint and carpet. This seller sold for more than she wanted to sell for. She had multiple offers. Um, the key is really just taking our advice. And it's hard because, you might love that color. You might love that paint color. And maybe you don't care about the carpet. It doesn't matter to you. Um, we understand that. Even as agents, we all live a certain way in our homes. But when it's time for us to sell, we do things, right? So I love this. It's just beautiful. And you can see why this would bring buyers in through the front door, right? It's bright, it just looks great. I love it. All right, step 3, we're going to go through really quickly because I know I feel like we've talked a lot and I want to get to the Q&A. So what happens after you're ready, right? And this is a whole other webinar. So we're just going to skim through this really quickly. After you're ready, after your home is ready, and you can live in it and we can work with the furniture that you have, or you can move out and we can provide virtual staging. So we have lots of options. It's what What makes your life better and easier? That's what we want to be doing. So we would have staging, whether that's physical or virtual staging. Then we would have your photo shoot. Part of the staging process is to get you camera ready for that photo shoot. Because as Beth said, buyers, the online experience for buyers is critical. It's like it's your marketing launch. And you want to look gorgeous and delicious, I always say, in those photos. Then you have your list day, you'll have showings, maybe an open house. Then you'll be reviewing offers. I did say offers. That's the goal, is to generate offers. You only need one. You only need one good one. Is it a lot more fun when you have two or three? Yes, it definitely is. Then you would go under contract and get, and go to settlement. So before we open it up to Q&A, if you want to use your phone to take a picture of this, you can. You can also just, oh, you know what, Beth, that's not Beth's cell. That's my cell. So, Beth, do you just want to give your cell?
Sure, it's 410-599-7118.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, and if you want to reach out to Beth and you didn't catch her number, you can shoot me a text and I can give you Beth's information. And our email addresses are easy. It's just our names at the Wendy Slaughter team. So feel free to reach out to us. We can have a phone call with you. We can have a Zoom meeting. We love Zoom. We can come to your house and just sit and have coffee and talk. So it's whatever you feel like you need. I'm meeting with 3 sellers between now and I would say in the next 4 weeks who are not selling for anywhere from 1 to 3 years, but they want to meet with me now to find out what they need to do to get ready to sell. So we can definitely do that. Before I stop sharing the screen and go to Q&A, I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to thank Beth.
Thank you.
And I also want to thank Tess
Thank you.
because you're both amazing people and I love you. So Q&A, who has questions? We love this part. Are there any questions in the chat, Tess?
Not this time.
Wow, we had a lot last time.
I know.
I'm sure people have questions. Don't be shy.
Mhm. While you're thinking of your questions, 2 things, Wendy just ended with, she's seeing clients that are selling maybe 1 to 3 years. I think that's the big, sellers, they wait and, they don't realize, oh, the agent is going to come in to list my house. And, they don't bring you in either because they think their house is a mess and they don't want you to see it, or they're going to do some work on it and then bring you in, which
Right,
is really not a good plan because you may be painting it a color that's not, in this seller's market attractive, or you
right.
may decide to change that carpeting in the basement and you didn't need to. So it's highly advisable to tell your friends and family that, you want to bring that agent in way before.
Yeah, I agree. I've been talking to somebody over email. We haven't had a phone call yet. And she said, "Oh, I'm so excited the painters can come in sooner. I'm sorry I haven't been in touch." And I'm like, are you sure you don't want to wait until I come? And because part of our services, it includes a paint consult. And again, it's our job to know, there's a range. I mean, even think about gray paint, right? There are blue grays, grays, there are green grays, and it looks very different in everyone's homes. So, take advantage of these things that are just included when you're working with us. We want to make sure that you're fully prepared in the best way possible when it is time for you to list. So no questions? All right, well,
I
Beth,
I have some
oh,
comments, I
Eileen,
guess,
please, yes.
because I was making notes as you guys were talking about the downsizing part. So I can first give you a comment about the charities Beth mentioned. And this is really important when I'm working with seniors because they really do not have the physical capacity to lift up furniture and move it.
Right.
So what's important to understand is that when you work with Habitat, they will only accept furniture out of a garage or the porch. They will not come into your house.
Good to know.
So that creates an issue. So a lot of times I have to actually have a junk hauler move it out or take it there themselves.
Mhm.
Second Chance is great. I've worked with them, but they will only take furniture off the main floor.
Mm,
So if a client wants to get rid of a bedroom set, you've got an issue again. Or
right.
you've got to move it down to the garage, or, it's really important to distinguish those two. And then the one that she didn't mention, and please share this with all of your clients, there's a charity called A Home of Our Own. They're nonprofit, they're all volunteer based. They show up exactly when they say they are. And my senior clients absolutely love giving stuff to them because they pick up furniture and basic household goods. It may go to their warehouse, but it then goes directly to a client in need.
Ah,
It doesn't go to some store to be sold or eventually to the landfill because it didn't get sold. My clients absolutely love this because I said, all the kitchen stuff that you don't need anymore, let's pack it all up. It all goes to a home of our own. All
wow.
the cans, the bedding, those basic garbage cans, the vacuum cleaners,
Mhm.
all of it could be used.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, and again, I think that just having Eileen chime in speaks to how valuable it is to work with knowledgeable, helpful people during this transition.
It's not only helpful, and Eileen knows this, it's so important to bring in Eileen and those like that because it's very physical and then you get hurt, right? And I've seen this a lot when my clients try to do it all and they pull out their back or
Right.
something that was looming happens and they get sick and we have to put everything on hold. It's just not worth it. And so a lot of times the older adults want to try to do a lot on their own, and you still can with Eileen's help. You still can do a lot of things on your own.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you want to
Another,
know the best piece of advice about how I start?
Tell us.
yes,
It's furniture. So one of the very, very first things that I do when I work with a client, I said, let's make an Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to walk around the house and list every single piece of furniture you have. If I'm not talking about planter stands, but every single piece of furniture. Then the first column is where your client is going to a new home or vantage house or something like that. The second column is what does the real estate agent want for staging? That is my second column. Third column, what do the kids want? And sometimes I have multiple columns for the kids. Then there are certain pieces of furniture that the clients really want to sell because they think it might be valuable. Then there's a sell column, a donate column, and trash column.
Oh my God. I
Why
love
this
that.
is so important.
yes,
I love it.
It instantly creates organization, and I share it with the real estate agents because then the client, the real estate agent, the family, the stager, everybody involved knows exactly what is happening with every single piece of furniture.
Right.
So that's number one. So now there's two takeaways from all of this. Believe it or not, the very first thing, I don't go into closets and start there. The very first thing I do is I go down the trash column and say, guys, if you want to downsize your house, we need some serious real estate space so we can move around and lay boxes out and organize. So let's pick out a whole bunch of things that furniture wise that are absolute trash. Sleeper sofas for one. No one will accept them.
Mm,
Some tables or different pieces of furniture that are so damaged, Habitat would never take it. A Home of Our Own would never take it. So we get that stuff out of the house first, and it creates this amazing real estate space now to start downsizing. And then the other flip side of that too is why I want my real estate agent involved immediately, because I want to know what furniture they want for staging. And then we kind of grab all the little extra stuff, because if a family member wants a couch and you guys want the couch for staging,
right.
and when it's on the Excel spreadsheet, it helps me organize exactly when that couch gets removed. So this Excel spreadsheet is one of the go-to things I do at every
Love
single
it.
job.
I
And
mean-
it is just so incredibly helpful.
I love it. It's not rocket science, but
No.
it's brilliant.
Absolutely not. So
Yeah,
then a lot of times the clients will come back and say, well, I want to send everything to auction. But then I go down the spreadsheet and I'm going, guys, you've only got like 3 pieces of furniture that are really auction worthy. It is not worth it.
right.
But the condition, you've got 17 pieces that really are donation worthy. So then we talk about the return on investment, because
Mhm.
pay a hauler to get it there. So that's why another reason the Excel spreadsheet helps, because I can go down the column and go, oh, we've got 22 pieces going to the new house. We're saving 14 pieces for staging. And I know the numbers. I know how many pieces of furniture are going to family members and what direction that goes in.
It's so great.
Great, Eileen. Great advice.
I tip.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you so
I
much
know
for chiming in.
sometimes- Yes, absolutely. Sometimes the older adults do decide they want to move first. And, that becomes a little less of a stress for them, is that they make that move and then we empty the house. And, that's where Wendy talked about that we can digitally stage. So, when we digitally stage, a room looks just like the furniture's there. You can picture what that room looks like. You can picture your own furniture. But the ease of that, that older adult client moving out first sometimes is a peace of mind.
Yeah, I love that option. If it works, if it's on the table at all, I really encourage it. It just makes their lives so much easier to move out. And sometimes our sellers will move out and then do the painting and do the carpet.
Right.
And, we get everything scheduled so that it's timed well, right?
Yeah.
Starting right after the move.
Yeah.
And it's just, they don't have to be in it, you know?
Yeah. I'm doing one like that right now. She
Yeah.
moves next week and then we'll do the paint and carpet.
Yeah, it's great.
Mhm.
Thanks again, Eileen. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here. And thanks again, Beth and Tess.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eileen. Thanks,
Thank you,
Annette.
Lynette.
Thank you. Pam, thanks for spreading the word about it.
Yeah.
Mom, I'm surprised you didn't say anything or show up on camera.
Come on, Mom, I want to see you.
I know. She might not be camera ready.
Okay.
Chris, thanks for being here. Kendra, thank you. Thank you all very much. I hope you have a great day. Reach out if we can help in any way.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.